Ihre Befehle.
So is Borneo, which is now going to be called Islands.
Achtung!
League is a minor.
Angetreten.
Tsingtao is fairly important. I don't really know who to give these. Let's go with Saksa to you, and then Sauken to you. And then this is going to be the Field Marshal as soon as I can make him. Okay, that's all done. It is French and vanilla. Yeah, I know that the Germans took it in this one, because I remember having to fight German East Asia for it in the past. And we'll need to work out our naval plan is at some point. Unfortunately, we don't have a commando. Organisation, supply consumption's probably the one we're going to want. Oh no, here we go. Commando doctrine. Ha! Yeah, this is the one we want. Outer supply, reconnaissance, night attack, supply grace. Especially the supply grace for Marines. And there it is. Commando operations, special forces attack and defense. This is the one I meant. Cool. Alright, let's do this. China and the AOG, the fatherland's Chinese possessions, also lie under our jurisdiction, as per the terms of the American-mediated Shanghai Conference of 1928. Germany's rights in China are equal to those of any foreign power. The city of Tsingtao has long served as the nexus of our operations there. At once a modern city, a thriving port and the centre of an extensive commercial web woven throughout the east, based on beer. Not everything passing through the Kiachao Bay is fully legitimate, however. The Aufsichtsrat der Ostasischen Generalverwaltung, or the Supervisory Board of the East Asian General Administration, manages numerous ships, factories and even informal concessions which violate the spirit, if not the letter, of the 1923 agreement. Oh no, I know I've forgotten the military factories. I wanted to wait until my ships were in place before I know what I need to build. The Nanjing warlord Sun Chonfang, in a bid to ensure his autonomy from China's central government, accepted a series of exploitative arms deals in return for extensive economic concessions within the League of the Eight Provinces. Although unrecognized by Beijing, as well as the rest of the international community, the AOG spreads its influence throughout the League and ever deeper into the country's interior. Ultimately, Berlin would like us to use China as a buffer of sorts against Japan. Every soldier sent there is one who cannot be deployed against us in Malaya and Indochina. To that end, China's government and the LEP must be supported, and the Japanese encroachment in China must be considered only one step away from Singapore. Sehr gut. And have the ships arrived in Singapore yet? No. Most certainly not. Tsingtao beer is fantastic. I agree, it is very, very good. Wow, 20 capital ships and 81 escorts. That's rather impressive. Even if our capitals are just heavy cruisers. Which we've had some oh no, we do have battleships. 8 of them. Ancient ones, but we still have them. Alright, so the first things first, I want to separate out the carriers. Now, if I deleted these, do I get that manpower back? If it doesn't say manpower in this list, you don't get any manpower back. That's what I found in the past. So no, we would not get any manpower back from this. They have predominantly carrier fighters and a couple of naval bombers. I guess I'll keep them, but these are really not very good. How would German East Asia work basing near fuel? I produce fuel. At Borneo. Hello, Bible Nexus. Ooh, and we got a couple more followers. Captain Carsons. Yotaru Kujo and Slui and Blue Steak. Welcome to the channel. Thank you very much for the follows. Good to see you here. And Joanne, thank you very much for the follow as well. Welcome to the channel. Bible Nexus, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Okay, so we do need to build some aircraft, but we really don't need very many. In fact, we have 50 in storage, so I'm going to say we're not going to bother with those. Cancel you. We can actually make light tanks straight away. We are going mechanized. You know what? Let's get a single light tank in production. And kind of need all of these. And this is going to mean that I'm going to need to import some steel, but that's okay. The thing that we do have loads of is rubber, so going motorized mechanized is absolutely the right decision. Yeah, we probably are going to need to either upgrade our oil supplies or import it from one of the Americas, but we have a vast fleet, so I don't really see supply being an issue. I mean, supply of resources. And we should get a lot of civilian factories because we have a pretty vast amount of rubber. Let's go for motorized. And I'm going to spend a single factory buying steel from Germany. Kerensky has just been shot and killed while on the way to the Senate. Never seems to have much luck, does he? The legation cities were formed in 1928 after the Jade Wind incident, when a European passenger train was attacked by the Kuomintang bandits. While mostly designed to halt the Zhili-Fentian conflict that was destabilizing the Far East, the Americans also intended it to serve as a tool for their open-door policy, allowing access to Chinese markets in all Western nations and Japan. As the active arm of German policy in Asia, many of our diplomats served as delegates in the legation cities in Shanghai, though Berlin is actually the one to formulate policy in the council itself. Berlin rarely concerns itself with below this level though, and we are mostly responsible for managing most of the German day-to-day and covert activities in the legation cities. Ooh, covert, la resistance. Most of our dealings in China actually involve going around international mandate. However, and we have semi-legal extraterritorial concessions in our ally Sun Chanfang's League of 8 provinces. Should chaos erupt in China, Nanjing is probably our only true friend. We deserve a vice in Shanghai. Obviously. Ah, and we have some decisions. Ah, that's how we get manpower. Interesting. And we... Legation Council. That's new. Develop bauxite mining in Johor. 50 aluminium in Malaya. Okay, that's a thing we're going to want to do. Usually it's like 6 oil. 50. That's a worthy investment. The Reichskolonialamt, or the Imperial Colonial Office, is the general overseer of the German colonial project. As such, we must go through it to gain precious war material or new blood for the fatherland. From the fatherland. So if we have less than 10,000 manpower, then we can request 25,000. Costs us 100 political power, though. Or we can request guns. We gain 2,500 infantry equipment from Germany. The Legation Council is a body comprised of the representatives of the leading nations with interest in China. Motions here are proposed by a representative, and we must gain a simple majority to pass. Abstentions do not count for either side, except in the case of a tie, where they serve as an extra vote for no. The current countries that have voting rights in the Legation Council are German Empire, Japan, Austria, the United States, and Flanders-Wallonia. So technically Germany has 2. The current motion on the floor is no motion. Yes votes, abstentions, no votes. I guess it is possible for us to get voting privileges. War propaganda, sending the army, solidify control, and the bauxite mining. Okay. The OG influence in China grows. Amidst a season of mixed news, it appears that our partners in the OG have managed to come across a stroke of good fortune. The completion and purchase of the Zigan Railway, a large-scale rail project inside the League of the Provinces, has allowed the OG to spread its influence deeper into Chinese territory. While some responses to the OG's actions have been less than pleasant, we can safely assume that this is a sign of good things to come. Glad to hear it. Marvellous. Yes. How fun is the East Asia play so far? I've literally just started, so a bit early to say. Okay, so how much do we need to promote you? 8 more. So 14, 15. Call it 15. The Totalist Charter, Mussolini, Valois, Beria, and other interested parties arrived in Birmingham today to discuss the common ground. And we do have things that we can do. Oh yeah, you absolutely should get amphibious. Oh, wait, no. Let's get the promotion first, then get amphibious. Because we're going to have a couple of traits and things to get. Edward VIII, crowned as the King of Britain. George V, the large King of Great Britain and Ireland, have ruled over the Home Isles themselves, has passed while in exile in Canada. The first Windsor King, his reign shall be remembered with sorrow and sadness, as during it, Britain lost both the Welsh Creek and its homeland. Must be weird going from Chinese pronunciation to German. I mean, we already had a fair number of German pronunciations. You're going army first. Actually, yeah, that's the only option, isn't it? Duh. I knew that! Alright, status of the Admiralty is completed. Ostasian Force would let me get land doctrine, air experience, navy experience, or we can go for develop Tsingtao, and I think that's where we want to do, because we want to get down to here as soon as possible. Oh, this is only 14 days. Tsingtao is more than a city, it is a symbol of German dominance, control, and more than anything else, it is our place in the sun. Also beer. To lose Tsingtao would be unthinkable to High Command, and all efforts must be made to fortify the concession. Since I sorted out the generals, what about the admirals? I was thinking death stacks. No, definitely not death stacks. Yeah, we probably should do that. I need the submarines separated out. We can go here. There's a way of doing it. Just drag you, right? Done this before. How did I... No, it's right click. All submarines. There we are. And you are going to be a new fleet. And you are going to be commanded by somebody who's good with subs. Air controller. Blockade runner. Superior tactician. And then Muka, who's just good at everything but has no starting traits. This is kind of suggesting that we have a separate, smaller carrier fleet. This might be a time to see if carrier fleets work well in escort duty. Or, patrolling. Afghanistan declared war on India. Okay, so how many destroyers do we have? We have 30. Which is what? And we have several light cruisers, which I'm going to be using as recon. I think I'm going to leave the armoured cruisers for a bombardment fleet. Amphibious assault, probably. Yeah, I quite like that plan. Thinking about the carriers in recon. Because these are only small carriers, as far as I'm aware. Do light and heavy carriers still exist? Have they just merged the two together? Yes. I think. Yeah. Oh no, these are just the old school carriers. No, it's just one carrier hull. So no, they don't have the escort carriers. These are just the ancient kind of crappy ones because they're just converted cruisers and battleships. Am I doing artillery or tanks? Tanks. Do we have different destroyer classes? We do. But I think I'm going to separate out all of the destroyers. And in fact, if we have the destroyers with the capital ships, we don't have any destroyers for escort duty. Which is not a good thing. So let's see what the differences are. We have the S, the T, and the Prosen. So the T214s are tier 2s. They have less light attack but more light piercing. They have way more torpedoes. How have you got heavy guns? You're a destroyer. That's not a destroyer. It says it's a destroyer class, though. What? That's one heck of a destroyer. Yeah. That's not a destroyer. That's a destroyer. Prosen are battleships that mislabeled their heavy hulls. I think that's a bug to report. Okay. Can someone do that, please? You should be able to do it over on their Discord. Or if you go to their GitHub. Superior German engineering. It's got armor and everything. It's actually kind of annoying that this is classified as destroyer, because now it's going to try and join destroyer fleets. Thankfully it does have that. It costs manpower. I could just disband it to save myself problems in the future. Kaiser Wilhelm, Deutschland, those are both dreads. Heavy hull. So how on earth has that happened? It does even say heavy hull. And in fact, it counts as a heavy hull. No, it doesn't. It counts as a destroyer. Is there any way of relisting that ourselves? I don't think there is. Alright, I'm curious. I think I might just disband that one. I'm going to save the game, see if I get the manpower back. If I do, it's probably worthwhile. Yeah, we got the manpower. Okay, problem solved. So I want the heavy cruisers. Oh, we've got different types. To be in their own fleet as well, because these are just going to be used for naval bombardment. And then this, oh no, the light cruisers are going to be in a different fleet as well. What are those? Mulhausen. These are cruisers. With heavy attack. They're heavy cruisers, they're not light cruisers. So that's fine. So those are going to be recons. And this is the surface fleet. You do count as a capital ship. In that case, I might just add those to the... no, the heavy attack is actually kind of wimpy. How is your heavy attack compared to these? Wimpy. You're mostly a torpedo cruiser, which is a really weird ship type. But okay, I'll take it. And then we have the battleships. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep the carriers separated. I really am tempted to try them in just escort fleets. Because I want to know how good carriers are at spotting. Oh, I could literally use them in escort fleets. I was thinking patrols, but no, these can be escorts. Oh, I like that idea. Because then they're always going to be screened by destroyers. And they should be quite good at finding submarines. Let's do that. Okay, so we have a capital fleet of 10. So we need 40 destroyers to accompany them. So this is the capital fleet. These are the subs. These are the bombardments. These are the recon. And these are the escorts. So yeah, we need a lot more destroyers. Awful lot more destroyers, because we have no escorts right now. I want to have at least 12 before the start of the war. Because then we have enough screens for the carriers too. Now here's a question. Do we want to use the blockade runner, who has the convoy speed while retreating bonus, for the... No, you're... Because we have this air controller, we probably should use the carriers in some kind of capacity. I just don't know how. Because I don't want them in the patrols, because they're not going to do anything. Except spot. I don't want them in the main capital fleet. Because they just take up... Well, yeah, they make the most sense in the capital fleet. They really do. Which just means I need even more destroyers. So be it. Right, let's split these guys up. So these are the recons. These are the bombardments. These are the subs. So the submarines probably want... Where do I put Helmuth? Because it kind of makes the most sense to have our air controller in charge of the main fleet. Except then our main fleet is going to be weaker. Put one CV in each of the spotting fleets, or one in each of the escort fleets. I think the spotting fleets makes the most sense. The problem is the spotters are going to be quite small. So they're not going to be very well guarded. How fast are they? Carriers do tend to be pretty bloody fast. So hopefully you're just quick enough to escape. Yep, we're doing that. You're joining that one. You're joining that one. You're joining that one, and then the commander of this is going to be you. You don't need a commander. The submarine commander is going to be you. And then Muka is going to be in charge of that fleet. And then the escorts, when I get them, is going to be the last guy with the blockade runner. I think that makes the most sense. Right, do you have any traits to choose? No, and I wouldn't have the command power for it anyway. Okay, onwards. The Fifth Anglo-Afghani War. After the Welsh Creek, as the British Raj collapsed into turmoil and warfare, the neighbouring kingdom of Afghanistan took advantage of this opportunity to seize the Peshawar and Quetta, both border regions of the Dominion. And Black Monday on the same day. The situation in Germany is dire. After a devastating financial crisis, the German economy is in tatters, and the colonies are sure to follow. We must cut back on much of our spending and immediately look for ways to buttress East Asia's already weakening economy. Recovery could take many years. Actually, one thing I want to do, seeing as we do have a fuel income, is start training. No, can't train you all. Black Monday hits the AOG. Our Chinese partners have weathered the Black Monday crisis no better than us, it would seem. With German businesses already facing pressure from local elements being hit particularly hard. The Deutsche Asiatische Bank, once thought too big to fail, is teetering on the edge of collapse, and the trickle-back effects of this financial instability are already being felt by our own financial sector. Thanks, Poet. Electoral gridlock in France. The Commune of France is the world's leading syndicalist nation, united as a federation of city communes and directed by the Comité de Salut Public. In fact, I don't think I have enough for you either. I want to be in the green for fuel, if I can, but still training. End of the Black Week. A week has passed since the initial Berlin stock market crash. Rubber and tin, our main export commodities, have already lost more than half of their pre-Black Monday value due to the collapse of the tire demand from the automotive industry. Meanwhile, rice exports to the European markets have ground to a halt, leaving tens of thousands of tons rotting in the fields and none on the docks. Europeans in Singapore, Saigon and other cities have few savings and no land ownership, gambled and lost everything on the market, and now find themselves little better off than their Indo-Chinese neighbours. And here's the colonial tumult, so base stability goes down, so our stability is going to suck. And this also loses us political power, resource gain efficiency, division recovery, stability, and weekly war support. Boom, minus 19. However, as an upside, Tsingtao has been developed. So we can fortify the concessions, which is fortifying Guangzhou, Jianmen, Guangzhou, and Nantang. Or we can dispatch workers to the Borneo mines. Let's get another civvy factory. Northern Borneo currently holds a vast array of undeveloped industrial areas, with our chief hurdle being a lack of manpower to exploit these resources. By importing Chinese migrant workers to Borneo, we can begin to develop these nascent industries.
Befehle.
Oh, and our armies start fully drilled too.
Bereit.
Cool. Oh, and we have enough political power to promote... Oh, no we don't. Yes, we do. You. Congratulations. Nice early promotion for you. And I would like your Marines to all be present in Singapore for future deployment. The Austrian Empire withdraws from Italy. It is clear that Black Monday has hit the Austrian Empire hard. The Austro-Hungarian Reichskriegsminister today announced that he was recalling divisions stationed in Italian territory, unable to afford the financial burden of keeping them safe from the Socialist Republic of Italy. For good or for ill, the Italian Republic is now effectively independent of Austrian domination. And on that note, I thought we were going to rush the League focus. I strongly suspect that I can't take it yet, because they're not at war. And I do have a little bit of time because I know how this works. Anyway, I'm going to call this stream here. This does seem to be a pretty good stopping point before anything major occurs. So, thank you all for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, be sure to hit that follow button to get notifications when I'm live again in the future. If you've really enjoyed this, then do consider subscribing. Helps the channel out, lets me do more of this kind of content. Be like Wasted Youth, be like KBZYY, and hit that follow button. And like Avkar. Don't panic, I will be back again in an hour. I'm just going to head off and get something to eat. So this series will continue at 10 PM this evening, or 1 hour's time from now, and will last for another 4 hours or so, as is normal. Novox Mage, thank you very much for the follow. I do have a YouTube channel, which you can find at youtube.com/Mordred Viking. That is where a lot of Hearts of Iron content can be found. Particularly the League of Eight Provinces series, which I have just finished today. There is also a Bulgaria series, a Patagonia series, and a UK series and Road to 56, all currently in process. I do also have a Patreon if you wish to support the channel financially there, or you can of course become a subscriber here on Twitch. And then finally I have a Discord, which is where the community hangs out. You can find that at discord.gg/Mordred Viking. It's always a real pleasure to see some new faces over there. So come join us and we'll talk about games and stuff. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. I will see you in an hour. Until then, goodbye.